Hello everyone. It's been a while that we haven't been back to this channel, the Double Cross Anime. But we here at number 154, so 154th time for this podcast for some anime movies of this year. So they technically releasing in 2021, but they are not available or subtitle been not ready until this year, 2022. So me and Whooper think this is a good chance to to catch up with them and yeah, just see like how well these anime films have been performed, especially after the COVID. How do you
How well
feel
they've
in general?
performed.
Yep.
I don't know anything about their box office performance
uh
or anything
or
like
even
that.
like like if there are any like production issues you can see like
Oh,
that can hint you that they are the product after the COVID.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm just thankful to be watching films
Yeah.
because television series are the main place where you can see production issues, regardless of whether there's been a global pandemic or not.
Mhm.
So when you watch a movie like this, you're just kind of like, oh yes, thank you, anime god, uh, that these films don't
That's
look
true.
like they don't look like crap.
Yep. And of a few of them, we have one here, the Deer King, that have been delayed for I think a year, uh, due to the COVID as well.
Right.
So we have the three here. By the way, is the Deer King, Belle, and Sing a Bit of Harmony.
Yeah. Two by really well, I guess just one is by a really high profile director, and then
Hmm.
the other two less so. Um,
But
but Hosoda is he's the biggest name, but he doesn't necessarily make the best film every single time. You know,
all right,
so there have been the popular opinion about his filmography is that there have been some hits and some misses.
all right. I think you would say that to Makoto Shinkai and not to Hosoda. I think you prefer Hosoda more than Shinkai, right?
Oh, certainly, yes. But I think popular opinion. I'm just speaking about popular opinion, and I think most
Yep,
people view Shinkai as more consistent, even if he's less adventurous.
yep, yep. That's true. Because Hosoda, like some of his film, people consider them a mist, like The Boy and the Beast.
Right.
Um,
Even
on
Mirai, which got
really
really
right.
well, it got really wonderful. What's the word I'm looking for? Reception,
Yep,
especially overseas. Like it was the first film that he had not nominated for an Academy Award and stuff. But
yep.
a lot of I guess anime fans who saw that film were like, I'm not really feeling it.
Hmm. I think maybe because he has more like Western sensibilities than the like normal homegrown anime movies. Like this film, for example, Belle, it obviously inspired by the Beauty and the Beast, especially I think the movie as well, the Disney Beauty and the Beast movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he just lifts that concept and puts it in this movie.
Yeah, the
The
castle
the plot is
is
not the same,
yeah,
but
yeah,
the singing
the
princess and the scary beast,
yeah,
um, that's exactly the same.
yeah, that's true. But yeah, by the way, when we say that, we have like two films out of three is about singing and on the power of singing and song.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, we usually do double features whenever we talk about anime films on this channel. And I
yep,
was thinking we would just do Belle and Sing a Bit of Harmony because they're both musical films.
yep,
I don't think either of them are like true blue musicals. Certainly,
yep,
Sing a Bit of Harmony is a little bit closer,
yep, yep,
but neither of
yep.
them are really musicals. But this, we decided to add the Deer King because the theme for this time is really just, you know, movies that came out last year that we've been waiting
Yep,
for an English translation. That's the theme.
yep, yep, yep. Well, uh, and by the fact that I really wanted to see these three films as well, so just put them in there. They are just like the must-see titles of the
Right.
year.
Yeah, there's definitely more anime films maybe not any remaining from 2021 that we still need to watch. I mean, I guess Inuo,
Yep.
though that had its theatrical release, I think in 2022. It was just on the festival circuit last year. But
Yep.
there's the Netflix film Drifting Home. There's Goodbye
Right.
Donglies, which you were talking about just before we started recording,
Yep.
which
Yep.
may get a Blu-ray release before the end of this calendar year, so we may get access to that.
Hmm.
Um, there's what else is there?
And not much else.
There's
The
more. I
the
just can't
girl
remember.
from the other side that we have already covered.
Right, we saw that. Um,
Uh,
Fortune Favors Lady Nikuko
right.
by
Right.
Ayumu
Right.
Watanabe.
Yep.
The Studio 4C film. There's that. There's also Dozens of Norths
All
by
right.
the
That.
guy. He's kind of like an art house director. He's the guy who directed the Kafka adaptation in 2007.
Hmm.
I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but there's that film. There's Bubble as well from
Yeah.
Araki.
The Vampire in the Garden. Although
That that's a
it's
five.
like
Yeah,
it's like 5, 6. It's like a mini series.
right. It's a mini series, and if you total up the lengths of all the episodes, it's like a really long movie.
Yep.
That I've seen. It was okay.
All right. And we have some of these movies from popular franchise as well, like Yurukam, the movie,
Yeah.
um, Hamefura, the movies, or the
There's a Hamefura movie.
yeah, there is,
Is
and
it? I assume it's a recap.
I don't, I'm not too sure on that. I think it's like the news stories, but
Oh,
I haven't heard
interesting.
of that scene. And the quintuplet movie as well. I think it's like about the ending, about like which girls that he chose at the end.
Yes, we have to figure out which girl
Yep.
the male protagonist chose. That's my favorite.
Jujutsu Kaisen Zero.
Right. See, now you're starting to lose me. Like, I don't
Why?
know. I guess I'm not really following a lot of
All
these
right.
franchises. I thought about watching the Yuru Camp movie,
Yep.
but honestly, it's very low on my list of anime films to catch up on.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
the second
Fair enough.
season of the show, I wasn't particularly enamored with. So
All right. I actually still enjoy the second season a lot.
yeah, I mean the formula is still pretty much
Well,
intact. I just didn't. I don't know what it was. I mean, there was Google Maps Gate
yep.
for one thing, but I don't know. I guess I wasn't in the mood for it when I saw it.
Yep. Yeah. Fair enough. Yep. All right. Talking about these three um that we're gonna discuss today. Uh, would would you want to start with Belle,
I guess so. I mean,
the
it's
biggest
definitely the
one?
most, yeah, the biggest, the most anticipated out of these three.
Yeah.
Sure.
So yeah, before watching the movie, I have no idea about like the inspiration of Beauty and the Beast. I just know that it's about like that this girl who like who become very popular in the digital world, and I think it's like it's something that Hoshida had tackled before.
Yeah.
So it pretty much like within his wheelhouse here.
Yeah, I knew about the Beauty and the Beast thing because when this film came out, everyone was describing it as Summer Wars meets Beauty and the Beast.
All right,
That was
it
just the,
it's a fair comparison.
yeah, that was what the description that it got saddled with,
Yep.
um, at least among anime fans. I think the wider movie going public probably heard mostly about the big ovation that it got at Cannes.
Yep.
I
Uh,
remember whoever was doing publicity for this movie, like,
yep.
beat that story to death.
Oh
Every,
man.
everywhere you looked, all the reporting about this movie. Did you know that this cartoon movie from Japan got a 10-minute standing ovation?
40 minutes.
14. Oh, really? Did you just Google it?
The for whole for a whole minute, like 40 minutes. Yep. So the thing is, I've been in Cannes film festivals, and the standing ovation is not that like that special. Like usually, after the movie, they usually do the standing ovation.
Right.
If the movie, except if the movie was so bad that they just like boo up and walk out. So like the 40 minute standing ovation for me at least is not, it's not something to brag about. It's still nice.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
here's the question: do you think it deserves a 14-minute standing ovation? What did you think
well,
of it?
well, I certainly enjoy it from start to finish. I still think it's not it. All right, it's not on the same level of Wolf Children, which is like my favorite Hosoda films.
Yeah.
It have a lot of big ideas, and like try to be too much at once. I don't think the ending will like stick the landing that well.
Yeah, the ending I thought was pretty. I don't know. I don't know whether to call it strange or anticlimactic or what to
Yeah.
call it exactly.
Yeah, the thing is like all right, we skip to to the ending now, but
Yeah.
uh the ending is that girl who come to save the two brothers, and we don't know what happened like before that. Like she just saw a video of like they being abused, so she decided to come. The fact that like all the grandma, all the uh adult leave her alone for her to come to Tokyo is first very weird. The second time when she like come to the place, there's two kids already there and said like you came, you you already come. It just
Yeah, well, the weirdest thing is that it's not that weird, I guess, that she goes to Tokyo
right
to see
by
those two
herself
kids. Well, yeah, I mean,
without any adult.
that's the thing. Like this movie, her mom is dead.
Yep,
That's a big part of her character. Like that's why she's so withdrawn and stuff.
yep,
And her dad just kind of like leaves her alone to work through it herself.
yep,
You know, he'll be leaving for work in the morning. She'll be getting ready for school, and he'll say like, "Do you want a ride?" She'll say no. "Do
yep,
you want dinner?" She'll say no. And he's like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'll see you."
yep.
So that I and the film doesn't seem to have an issue with that. So is that like an idealized version of fatherhood? Is just
No,
in
it's
like
not.
in Hosoda's mind, to just let your kid kind of figure things out for themselves. I mean, that would certainly be supported by her just leaving and going to Tokyo to undertake this adventure, and her dad is pretty much cool with it.
Yep, yep, that's
And
true.
then when she gets there, like the there's no real scenes of her like navigating the city trying to find these kids.
Yep. That she just
There's
come
not even
straight
a
to it.
scene of her navigating to the location where she knows where they'll be because they do all that. You know, they pull up a little picture of the two buildings that they spotted through the window of their house, and they go like enhance, and they figure out where it is in
Yep,
Tokyo. She does. It just cuts straight to a rainy city street, and the kids are there, and she's there, and the dad eventually enters the scene. It's just very
yep,
direct.
yep.
And the whole
Ah,
interaction with her and the dad, I was like, all right, I
I'm not feeling it.
no. I mean, the dad like literally whimpers and crawls away because she's so brave. It just felt very kind of like she's the main character, so she
Yeah,
wins,
she
and
had the
she's yeah,
powers.
she's got the power of bravery, and everybody else is just gonna like kind of crumple under that. It didn't feel very satisfying.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. But I think you have the issue with it even before that, right?
Hmm?
You have the issue with the movie even before that, right? Because
Um, I guess I don't know. I
yeah,
mean, what are you thinking of?
because you text me that you fall asleep halfway watching it.
Oh
So
right.
it's not like until the very end that you got an issue with.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
Well, the thing is, when you're trying to recount your reasons for falling asleep during a movie, it's not going to be, the most accurate presentation of your own thoughts, right? Because my thoughts were muddled by tiredness. But I don't know. Well, earlier you said that the movie was like it had a lot on its mind and it tried to tackle too many topics at once.
Yeah.
I kind of had the same feeling. One of my issues with it is that this world, like in Summer Wars, it was called Oz, and in this
Yep.
world they gave it a different name. It's called You.
Hmm.
And in Summer Wars, the world of Oz is pretty well realized.
Hmm.
There's like lore to it, and there's a big like there are battles going on between important figures in this world, even before like the main character gets involved in the plot.
Hmm.
So you get a sense of what Oz is really like. That it's a competitive place. That it's a place that involves a lot of I don't know. There's mystery to it. There's code that you have to be able to code a little bit, like to decipher some of the stuff that happens there. In this film, the world of You seems like it exists for Belle. It
Hmm.
doesn't seem like there's much going on in You. I mean, obviously there's stuff going on visually, like the film's presentation of the world is very grand and sweeping. But in terms of the reason that we as the audience are shown any part of You, it's basically just so that Belle can sing there or that Belle can go there and be hated on or ignored or appreciated. It's all about her. Uh,
Hmm.
so You doesn't really feel like a convincing 5 billion user VR platform to me.
Yep, yep, yep. I think I can see that. So we're talking about the soul issues, and I just want to get back to the fact that Suzu's relationship with her father, I think doesn't really get explored that much until like the very final act where like they're having a chat, they message each others, and we can see more of like how they been like how they came together to like some sort of agreement, how they starting opening up each other. But the thing is, we don't see any of that relationship before. The lack of that never been like a big issues in the movie before that. The film is about like this girl who become very famous in this, and like you said in um just then that I just don't feel the film frame it as her friend Hiruka is the one who like who arranged and PR Belle so that she become famous so that she can do the concert, but we don't see any of that.
Yeah, well, she's I don't know, she's working in the background like behind the scenes, I guess.
Yeah,
There's a conversation where she's talking to her friend. What did you say her name was? Hiroka. Okay, I have it here.
Hiruka. Yeah.
And she Hiroka is like prompting her to say why Belle has gotten so famous.
Uh-huh.
And Suzu's like, "Oh well, I mean, I guess your engineering and all the flowers and the costumes and the choreography." She's like going through a list of reasons why um, Belle is so famous. She's gained so many followers and become this major musical act.
Yep.
And it's true that we don't really see any of that. It's just kind of it's not even implied. It's just stated in that scene that oh yeah, there's a whole bunch of other stuff going into these performances other than just what's happening with Suzu.
Uh,
But the film's not really about her becoming famous.
mhm.
Like for example, she has like followers in the single digits. She gives her first performance in You. She just starts singing spontaneously, and most people like they stop and listen for a second, or most people's avatars, I guess, whatever they're called in this film. They stop and listen, and they're like, whatever. I don't really care. Um, she's not even that good looking, or just silly stuff
Mhm.
like that. And then she has only like 2 followers or something like that. Then cut to later on. I don't know whether a week has passed or what the deal is, but suddenly she has 23 million followers.
Yep. And
So this
growing.
film is what's that?
and growing.
Yeah, and growing, of course. You get the little visual of the numbers like cycling over each other and ticking upwards,
Yeah,
which I'm sure is a huge dopamine hit for anyone watching this movie who's young enough to the point like that their follower count is what gives them life.
yeah,
Um, but it's the movie's not about the process of becoming famous. That kind of just happens.
yep, yep, yep.
Um,
I think
and
I
so all of her
understand.
performances as Belle are don't really feel that consequential to me. Like, what is going
Mhm.
to be like what's at stake when she's performing? She gets famous automatically. It's not like she's going to lose her fame. In fact, she even points the Justin, the like the cop character.
Oh, right.
She reveals her true form, and gives a performance, not as the beautiful Belle, but just as her own regular human self, and everyone's still like totally moved.
Mhm.
So
Well,
her
you're right.
being Belle seems like secondary in importance to what the film wants to say.
Right. Um, I think her being Belle is like a yeah. They kind of explain why she want to reveal her true identity, and her being Belle is like more of like the inspiration of the Beauty and the Beast, but I think is kind of uh good. Like I can agree with that. I can see why that you see that the world of you is just created but for Suzu and Belle, because we see it through her point of view, so we don't really see that like get explored much. She like a real newcomer to that you, and she become like a success overnight, and then we stick with like Bale being famous, and then the beast appear. So yeah, it just doesn't really get that explore. I think I can get the crunch side of it, but like you said, it just feel like we need more. I think of that
Well,
world.
it depends on what the film wants to accomplish. You know,
Hmm.
I don't did it set out to be a film about a girl becoming like a musical icon? I don't know. It
Yeah,
really
not
doesn't feel
really,
like
right?
it. It
Yep.
it set out to become a film about a girl who is a musical icon. The becoming part
Yep, that's
was not
right.
really on display.
I think if you said like what the movie really is about, I would say that it's like a retelling of the Beauty and the Beast in like a different context.
I don't think I really agree.
Right.
It just
Mm-hmm.
borrows the whole Beauty and the Beast like dynamic, that sort of iconography. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, what was the Beast? What was he so beastly for? I can't really remember in the Beauty and
Because
the Beast. Was he cursed?
he's not he curse. All right. He he pains. He's in pain because of the abuse, and he when he
Like from the
become.
townspeople, led by Gaston or whatever that guy's name is.
Oh, sorry, is that the original Beauty and the Beast that you said?
I'm talking
Um,
about the Disney film.
right, he become cursed because I think like at first he become arrogant, and so someone cursed him into become a beast. I'm not
Yeah,
sure if it's like the
that doesn't have anything to do with why.
Gaston. No,
Yeah. Well, Gaston's not magical, is he? He's just the one who wants to hunt the beast and kill him.
that's right. Yep.
He gets cursed for some other reason.
Yeah, yeah. He gets cursed because I think at first he become arrogant or something. So they curse him and the whole castle to like become the beast then.
Yeah. But
Yeah, I
that doesn't really have a parallel with the beast in this movie. He just has
no.
that beastly appearance because, you automatically selects your appearance.
Mhm.
And so I guess it's sensed that he was like, I don't know, angry or vengeful or unfriendly or depressed or
Mhm.
whatever combination of traits that it sensed from his biometry,
Yep.
and just made him a beast type character. in this world. It's not
Yep.
really the same.
Yep. But it's hint on the psychology of the boy. So I can I think it's like a an okay uh, uh interpret interpret of like of the whole Beauty and the Beast saga. So I'm good with that, I guess.
I I mean, I'm fine with the film, I suppose. I just don't know what the takeaway is or what I mean, I was more interested honestly in like the high schoolers than I was in
Right.
anything that was happening in the virtual world. And I certainly wasn't interested in these like two kids who were being abused by their dad
Yep.
introduced so late in the game. Um
Yeah.
like the whole thing with Luca, like the popular girl,
Mm-hmm.
and her having a crush on the guy from the rowing club, which has only one member. And I
Yep.
really like that scene in the train station where it's just like a long take
Yep.
with the camera's not moving. It's just kind of planted off to the side. And it's the surfer, the rowing guy is like entering and exiting the frame because he gets
Yep.
embarrassed and like Suzu has to go get him and push him back into frame so he can talk to Luca.
Yep.
Um, I don't know. I was more interested in the kids,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
but I mean they weren't the focus. They weren't what the film wanted to push.
Yep. And the whole relationship between Shinobu and Suzu as well. Like I think they start with a pretty good idea because the childhood friend and Shinobu like grow up like trying to be a guardian for Suzu, trying to protect her. I think they have like a pretty neat idea, but the way they function that into this story is a bit um it doesn't feel natural to me. Like like the Shinobu is the one who tells Suzu to like sing with the true identity so that like the two boy can trust her.
Oh, was he
But
the one who told her to do that? Okay.
yeah, yeah. I just feel like it's a lot manipulation there. Like I think this is a good idea. You do this and put it on to her to do that.
Well, if you think about it, I mean, Suzu as Belle is getting help from like a whole team of people that we don't really see,
That's
in terms
right.
of the production and the choreography and whatever else, like everything that she listed off to Hiroka.
Yeah.
So I guess she's used to taking that sort of direction.
And even the old women the part of they are
They're not
part
that
of
old,
her.
man.
All right, right, the middle age
Yeah.
uh, uh women housewife. All right, housewife. I don't know if so they know that Suzu emailed
Yeah.
before, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
They
it
figure it
is a
out
really
midway
great.
through the
Yeah,
movie.
they just like kind of like they just kind of integrate to this story just because they don't have any real reason to be there.
Well, I think the Hosoda was probably going for like an intergenerational vibe there. He didn't
Yep,
want it
yep,
to
yep,
just be teenagers like saving the world.
yep. I like them, but like the fact that like all of them just see like, oh, this is Belle, we have to protect her, and then everyone and the high school kids come to that school at the same time. Uh
What?
just feel
All the high school kids come to what school?
oh
The elementary school
yeah,
where
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Where Suzu
That was
talked
another
to.
thing. Like
Yep.
that was a kind of a theme in the background of this movie was like underpopulation because the
Right.
bus that Suzu always takes, it was going to be shut down. There was a little sign
Oh,
saying the
didn't
bus would be
realize
shut
that.
down. And
Okay.
the elementary school where they met and practiced their singing, and where Hiroka had like her setup with all the computers and everything to help Suzu as
Mm-hmm.
Belle. That was also in the elementary school, and the elementary school was going to be like decommissioned.
All right.
You know, it
Oh.
wasn't going to be used as a school building anymore, so they were turning it into like a meeting place or a community center or something.
Right, right,
So
right.
in
Yep.
the in the background of the film, you're seeing the results of like a small town, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
um, that doesn't have the population to make use of all the facilities that it once used.
Mm-hmm.
So that I mean that was another thing that the film had on its mind, just one of many topics,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why they were there, like to practice their singing, and Suzu was singing with them, and I don't know. I mean, yeah, it wasn't really that big a deal. They weren't
Yeah.
integral to the story, but it was fine. I mean, a lot of this movie kind of felt that way to me. Like, not a lot of it was really necessary for what the film wanted to say, which I think in the end was like a commentary on isolation and abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just that people can be subjected to that stuff, whether it's internal, external, and everybody should, like, the internet should be used as a tool to reach out to those people and to protect them and make sure that they have what they need.
Mm-hmm.
But only a fraction of the film was really in support of that argument.
Yep. 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 I agree. But like I don't really mind about like where the story goes. It a bit, yeah, it's a bit shaky from this point to that point, but as a whole, I still think that yeah, for me, first and foremost, it's like the retelling of the Beauty and the Beast in the world where like digitalized and where everyone famous in that realities. So I think it's still an enjoyable movie to watch.
Yeah.
The
I
visual, actually, the character design are actually pretty good.
yeah, I Hosoda's character designs have looked like this for a while.
Hmm.
He animates using a kagenashi style, so there's no shadows on the characters' faces.
All right. Yep. Yep.
It's all just like kind of flat and solid colored. So
Hmm.
all the emphasis is on like their facial expressions and their body language, their movements and everything, rather
Hmm.
than the designs themselves being overly detailed. Um, and honestly, excuse me, even in my War Game, the Digimon film that he directed around the turn of the century,
Hmm.
like if you go back and watch that film, you can see the root of his design philosophy. Even though he was inheriting it from a franchise, I think a lot of his modern works kind of look like that film too.
Yep.
And I mean, they always look great. Yeah, he knows people. He knows people that he can get to work on his movies to make them look best in the business.
Yep.
Um,
Hmm.
so
It's look
good
great.
on him for that. Honestly,
Yep.
like this film looks fabulous.
Yep. Yep. I agree. Like even like the difference between the two words, the virtual words and the real words. I I I I just feel that the show nailed it on that end.
Yeah, I thought the CG was pretty damn good.
Yep. Yep. I agree.
Obviously, like for the Beast's character specifically, his name is Ryu, which actually translates to dragon. Um,
Right. Yep.
his hair being so long, that kind of has some consequences in terms of the stiffness of computer animation,
Yep.
because they're supposed to be like long tendrils of hair, but instead they're just kind of frozen in place in some scenes.
Hmm.
And they just move like as though his hair was wet and then he stepped into a freezer for several hours. Like his hair is just kind of stuck and matches the swiveling of his head. Um,
Okay.
but
The f-
Belle is also a character with very long hair, and that was animated beautifully, I thought,
yeah.
even
The
though it was all
fire.
3D CG.
Yeah, the fire look great as well.
What scene is there fire? Oh, when they set
The
the
castle on fire.
beasts. Yeah, they set his mansion on fire. Yeah. Oh, my I think my favorite visual moment, apart from the scene at the train station,
Uh-huh.
with kind of that medium shot that just holds and what's his face rowing guy is moving in and out of the frame. That I think that was probably my favorite individual shot. But I also really liked some of the scenery. It was kind of like digital looking scenery of trees and clouds, things like that, in like blue and orangish colors. It was
Mm,
kind of like they were barriers when Belle was looking for the beast,
right.
and she
Uh-huh.
had to talk to one of his AI
Oh,
little
right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
servant
yeah.
guys.
Yep,
But so before she could access his mansion or his castle, um, she had to kind of go through all of those things, I guess.
yep, yep, yep. It's so great.
Those that art was just beautiful. I really
Mm,
loved like the kind of the layering of the patterns
yep,
and the color choices
yep.
for all that.
And you can see some of his signature style there as well. The panning, like the one that you just said in the train station, but also the one where Suzu talked to Shinobu and Shinobu touched her hand, so she walks away.
Yeah.
Uh, to like the other end of the corner,
Yeah,
and then
she
when
goes around
she
the corner, yeah.
yeah when she want to get back, we see like the panning of her, like going back there, and she saw he talking to Luca. I
Right.
I love that. I love it's just so Hoshodas.
Right. Kind of reminds you of the tracking shot from Wolf Children
Yep, yep, that's
when
true.
you see the kids it like keeps moving back and forth between the two siblings in their different classrooms and you see them
That's right.
aging. So you it's even though it's one continuous shot and it was in Belle as well like that it pans over
Hmm.
away from the long hallway and you're focusing in on Suzu and then it pans back and the scene has changed
Yep,
while she's been around the corner. So
yep,
the passage of time like that is implied by the movement of the camera.
yep,
That's a nice trick.
yep,
I'm
yep.
sure he's like very consciously implementing it across his films
Hmm.
because that's like you don't stumble onto that technique. Um,
Very
you know,
often.
yeah, it's not something that you would as a director you would think of doing like on the fly. You would
Yep,
approach a scene with that in mind.
yep, yep, yep. That's true. So yeah, I have a great time with that. Uh,
A great time. Wow.
yeah, watching it. Yeah,
I
if
wouldn't. I can't say that I had a great time watching this movie.
all right, if I have to rank it like all of the whole Shonen films that I watch, I would put that above Me Right, and just after Wolf Children and The Girl Who Led Through Time. So number three, actually.
Well, I mean, I've seen Summer Wars as well, but I haven't
Yep.
seen Boy and the Beast. So I've seen
Oh,
four of his films, but regardless of which ones I have and have not seen, this is my least favorite.
all right.
Like,
I seen all of
man,
them. All right.
yeah,
Except for the Digimon or something.
right.
The
Our
first
war
one.
game. Yeah,
Yeah. All
yeah,
right. Sad
uh,
to hear that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well, well,
when
well,
it
I
got to the end where she like stands up to the dad who's like ripping the skin off of her face, and she's just so brave, and he's like, because
yeah.
she's so brave. No, that
All right.
that's like the point of no return for me.
uh, tell me about this about like the functionality of it all. When Belle singing in the U world,
Yeah,
does Suzu sing in real life as well?
yeah, most likely. I
Okay.
it's not exactly clear how this technology works because if you think about it, there's a scene where she's performing in You as she is like walking by the riverside and traveling to the elementary school in real life.
Mm-hmm.
She's
Yep. Yep.
giving a
Yep.
concert while she's doing this, and that really doesn't make any sense at all because like what are her eyes seeing as she's
That's true.
walking? Um, so there's that. There's also the issue of how exactly that final scene in that I was just talking about, that her protecting the two kids from the dad.
Uh-huh.
Later on, when she goes back to her hometown, Shinobu says, "I saw you protect those kids." How did
How?
he see that?
Yep. Yep.
Was was someone around the corner live streaming it, or what was going on?
Yep. Well. Yeah. No, it wasn't good. No.
Yeah. I don't, and there's also, the fact that she went from, single digit followers to 23 million in the span of, I mean, however long
Yeah.
that was. That doesn't make any sense either. Like, things do go viral on the internet, but you can see it all the time. Like, you watch a YouTube video
Uh,
with tens of millions of views, that has been passed around between people of all ages in all countries, so it has gone viral. But if you look at the channel that uploaded it, unless they're uploading stuff like that all the time, um it they'll have, I don't know, 5,000 subscribers, something like that.
mhm.
Like, that's not how internet virality works. You don't automatically become famous as a result. You have to take that and, like, use it as a springboard and make a concentrated effort to get people to follow you.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't think Hosoda really. I mean, he's given interviews about how he views the internet as like a wonderful tool and something that we shouldn't, like, be afraid of. We should all try to understand it and use it to improve, everyone's lives and it. But I don't think he really gets. He doesn't really get it. I
Mhm.
don't think he gets the internet or the ways in which people use it.
Well, maybe he just too old for that.
You can be old and understand it. I think he just. Well, I mean, I think that kind of dissonance, I guess, might be a consequence of the fact that this movie wants to comment on the internet, but it's not really about it. It's about
Yeah.
overcoming, trauma and abuse and feelings of sadness and depression.
I think
That's
the
Suzu's main struggle. Is she's still dealing with the death of her mother.
yeah.
You
Well,
know, the
I
internet
think
doesn't have anything to do with that.
the ending of her trying to reach out the kids makes sense in that way, in a way that it's commentary, usually a commentary about the internet, people who like care so much about all the gossip drama, but doesn't really give a damn about like the real life issues. So this one is like she reached out for real, and she actually like protect someone and change the life of them for the better. So I think it's kind of like commentary of that.
Yeah, but yeah, as we already discussed, like, that just happens towards the end of the film.
Yeah, that's
You
right.
know, it's not really integral to it.
Hmm. Yep. Well,
Wasn't a big fan, man.
all right. Let's go to the second one then.
What's that?
Let's go with the Deer King.
Sure. Yeah, I have
You
I
just
have no notes for this.
yeah,
So,
you just finished that, right? How
yeah.
you feel in general? Do you feel overwhelming, underwhelming?
I actually really enjoyed this movie.
That's great.
Yeah. I know that in general, I think this is probably the least popular, maybe not least popular. I don't know. The Sing a Bit of Harmony is probably the least popular, just in terms of, ticket sales and everything, because Yoshiuda is not a big name.
Hmm.
But man, I really like this movie. It was just a straight up fantasy film,
Yeah.
about a like, it was a big adventure movie, with a lot of great costumes and scenery, and there's magic and combat and a dad and his adopted daughter, which of course I'm a big softie for. Um, so I liked it a lot. How about
All
you?
right. Yeah, yeah. I enjoy it a fair bit. I actually feel that like all the three films that we watched, Belle, the King, and Sing a Bit of Harmony, they all like even though they are anime films and from all right, my point is that they all have like a touch of like the author in there. That have if we have seen like any of these people work before, we can see that like we can see the same pattern here. Even with the Deer King here, written by Nahoko Uehashi. If we watch like uh her work before, if we have read before, or we have seen like the work adapted by like by her work before, we can see the same thing, kind of the same concept here, and I'm all in favor for that. So
You're
with
talking
the
about the author of the source material
yeah, that's right.
because it's actually written by Taku Kishimoto, who's like a big anime writer. But you're talking about Uehashi, who also wrote Moribito and Aaron.
Yep.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, you're definitely right. You can see her fingerprints all over this. I mean, I have to assume she's like the queen of
Fantasy novels.
well, specifically like young adult
Yep,
fantasy in
that's true.
Japan. There's probably like more quote unquote serious work being done by other authors, but
Mhm.
in terms of like teen friendly stuff,
Yep.
she's got to be the best. I have to assume.
And I think like as all with her works, they have like a lot of politics in there, a lot of
Yes.
like a future settings that like the divide between like different class of people. I
Hmm.
and Yeah, but this one I think the film decided to focus mainly uh on the bond between Van and the younger Yuna. Is that Yuna?
Uh, is it Yuka?
Yuka, yep.
I
The
think
youngest. Yuna. I have here
it is.
Yuna in
It is Yuna.
Wikipedia.
You're right. Yeah, I'm
Right.
looking at
Yep.
my. I took a screen cap of the cast list. Yeah, and it is Yuna.
Yep. And so they spend a lot of time of like of them just spending time in a new village, new life, and eventually have open up to that, to to enjoy life.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense that they
Decide to do
um
that. Yep.
yeah, that like the almost the film's second act
Yep.
um is kind of his life with her in that village. Or at
Yep.
least that's where it starts and it transitions into the greater adventure that he goes on.
Yep.
But it's important that we see a lot of that bonding process because it's her being, her being captured that um that's his motivation for going on this whole adventure is to get her back.
Yep.
So if we only, like briefly meet the two of them and they're like, "Oh, okay, we're daddy and daughter now." Um, then we're gonna wonder like, why is this guy going so far to rescue this little girl? Why am I watching this? Why am I
Yep.
watching him do it?
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so it's important. It's important to get all those scenes, those heartwarming scenes
Yep.
of her being so cute.
Yeah. All right. So it led to my feeling that the world wasn't really detailed enough. I mean it really detailed, but it's hardly like the main focus of the film. So
Are you
yeah,
kind of talking about the conflict between the Zol and the Aquafa?
yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Especially like the two men uh from the Aquafers who like playing chess and talking, like they are they are the one who pull all the strings. So we see some of that. We see how they manipulate like one of these five horse people to release the wolf. But
They do?
I think they do. Like the main guy. Remember the main guy on the five horse territory, the one
Yeah.
who gets shot at the end.
Yeah, his name is Ofan.
Yeah, I think they try to cooperate with him in order to release the disease, and then they work. I think they work behind the scene to gain favors of the Zod people.
Yeah.
But we don't see a lot of that like at the end.
Yeah, it's true that so the two guys you're talking about, they're man, what are their names? Is it
Interesting.
Tolma?
All right, we
Tolim.
right we see a lot of
Tolim.
clicking.
He
Yep.
he's the guy with the beard. Yeah, you're hearing me clicking because I'm looking through my screen caps where I would take a screen cap whenever I saw someone's name, and I also have the cast list. But the cast list is not that comprehensive, at least not the one that I'm looking at.
Yep.
In any case, yeah, the I know the guys that you're talking about. The film made it color coordinated, so you could easily tell who was Zol and who was
Yep.
Aquafa because it was
Hmm.
blue and red.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and the two guys in red, the bearded guy,
Uh-huh.
and the other guy who wore kind of like a crown. I think maybe he was the king of Aquafa. Obviously, he's not
All
the
right.
emperor who many of the characters are referring to throughout the film.
All right. Are they?
Um,
All right. Okay.
yeah, so those two, I didn't. It's entirely possible based on this film's style of storytelling, which is pretty
Yep.
light on details.
Yep.
Um,
I
that
think
I
I've
missed a scene where he was crinkling his food wrapper. That that would be easy to overlook.
mm, I think I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that the show. No, no, I appreciate the fact that the show doesn't really try to explain the world, but instead like using a lot of like little detail that like very specific. And if we pay enough attention, we can see like how that world function, the current like the current situation of the world. But yeah, if we pay a lot of attention to that, so like some of them we kind of miss it as well because
Yeah.
we're not familiar enough to that world, to that universe.
Well, right away, the film opens with a narrator explaining the history between these two, countries,
Yep. Yep.
or people groups or whatever they are exactly. And then from there, it continues to provide details like constantly throughout the first, let's say, 15 minutes or so. And
Hmm.
then it backs off a little bit and becomes a bit more character oriented. But even then, you really have to twist the top of your water bottle very tightly in order to make sure you're getting all the details of the film.
All right.
So what I'm trying to say here is that yeah, there may have been a scene where they implied that they were manipulating the people of Firehorse Village, or I really can't. I
All
just
right.
completely lost my train of thought. Whenever I hear that crinkling, I'm just like,
Sorry. All right. I had something for breakfast. For snack. Uh, I remember the scene where they doing the chess thing, and that that the leader of the Fire Horse Village was there with the wolf, and I think they say something along the line of like you have to be careful now, otherwise you will lose or something. So
okay,
they having
I kind of
communication.
remember
Yeah.
a scene where Ofan was there as they were playing chess with all those cool looking pieces. I just think this film is cool, man. Like,
Yep. Yep.
for
It
example,
is.
those chess pieces, they all look very unique.
That's
All the
true.
costuming has a very cohesive feel to it.
Yep.
Like all the people who live at the village where Vaughn and Yuna settle down, they all have their own method of dress, and I have to assume that it's very purposeful. Like that village is a fusion of Aquafa and Zol culture.
Mhm.
Like their
Yep.
people have intermarried and everything. So they dress slightly differently from everyone else in the film, who are either more on the blue end or more on the red end. With whatever garments they they have in those cultures. Um, all like the action scenes are really cool.
Yep.
Um, the what was the woman's name? The tracker.
Say
Yeah, she was a badass, man.
she
She
is.
gave me
Yep.
major Balsa vibes.
And I think the we get into the main point now. They when Yuna get kidnapped, in a sense, by the five host people or by the wolf. The three people from like three different clans have to team up together. Actually, it also have to go along with Vance because he want his blood, and and bringing Sae to protect them as well. So I think that's in really must say about like the entire plot. Like even though that they are ethically like against each other, or like they don't, they have the different background, they still come together and eventually come to understand each other and respect each other throughout the journeys.
Right. What exactly was? I mean, I don't know how to pronounce the doctor's name. It's I see how it's spelled here. It's like Hosal or Hosale, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
What was he Zol or was he Aquafa?
But his role, he's like the main doctor.
His nationality.
All right, I think he's your.
He's Zol. Okay. Because
I
he's
just
the
know.
way that he's dressed is like kind of color neutral. He's more in gray than red or blue in
Yep,
most of his scenes, and obviously that's intentional because it represents the fact that he's not really for one nation or another. He just wants to
yep,
develop this vaccine.
yep.
But
That's
I didn't really remember, I guess, or hold on to whatever that piece of information.
Yeah, I think that's interesting because I think there's no confirmation that he's Joe or not, but he's like the main doctor of that empire, so he been like really famous.
Oh, okay. Right. He answers mostly to the emperor.
Yeah, that's right.
Huh. And I mean the emperor when you see him in one of those final scenes is dressed in purple, which is obviously what you get when you combine red and blue.
All right, interesting.
So that would represent neutrality, I suppose. But
Yep,
he's also referred to as the emperor of Zol because most of the characters that we encounter across this film are
yep,
aquafays,
yep.
um, and they resent the fact that they're kind of under Zol leadership. So
Hmm.
it is very political, as you noted. Her other works are
Yep.
the author of the source material for the Deer King. But I also feel like you can watch this film, and this is what I did, I guess, given my hazy recall of some of the details.
Yep.
You can just watch it as like a cool fantasy movie,
Hmm.
which it is. So,
Yep.
and I mean, the main character being like a hulking bearded man plays a role in that. You know, he's not like a little twig of a 14-year-old with magical powers or anything. He
Wow,
does get
wow, wow,
magical
wow, wow, wow.
powers, but
Yes.
he's also he was one of the lone antlers. He's from an elite military unit, like that's his background.
Yep.
It's nice to get, like a very strong and competent adult figure
Mhm.
taking the lead in an anime film because that's not often the case.
Yeah, and that's very interesting. Since at first both Van and Yuna have been bitten by the wolf and apparently died, but then they've been like revived back to life, and that I think that leads to the whole flashback at the end where I think both of them are like gifted by 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 the curse, right? And
They're protected from it because they're Zol. Because as the doctor
no,
figures out, it's like that specific plant, like that clover looking plant, which has
yeah.
some name that starts with the letter A. I can't remember it. Um, he
It,
figures out that it's that clover, because it's native
all
to whatever
right.
region they live in. He also says stuff about the goat's milk.
Yeah, I
Um,
think it's more of the good meal than that clover.
well, when I was watching that scene, that's like what kicks off his train of thought is that
Huh.
the Zol are the ones who drink this, and the
The
people of
aqua, the
Aquifa, they
aquafa.
think that it's like gross, so they don't drink it. that's he starts like talking to himself and thinking about that, but then what he eventually lands on is that, oh, it's the clover. Because one of the last shots you see of him towards the end of the film is him in his like workshop or his laboratory, and
Uh-huh.
he's got some of those clovers suspended in a jar. I don't know if you
All
remember
right.
that shot.
All right. Huh.
So it's actually those that he's using for the for what his
Oh.
research or medicine or
So
whatever.
I think I got it flipped then. I thought that the aquafar, the one who drink that good milk, is not good milk, it's something milk. And they have the protection, they have like the immunity for the curse, for the black wolf curse. So that's why
Well, they
uh,
are the ones who are supposed to be immune,
right.
but they're not. It's not that cut and dry. And that's
All
why the
right.
doctor's like, "Wait a minute, why are these guys in the Firehorse Village infected?"
Mm.
Um,
No, I think all right, all right. I think the few guys who get infected inside the Firehose territory, they are from Zoo. They are
oh,
original
that's
from
right.
Zoo.
Yeah.
So that's why they got infected. But they volunteer to be infected so that uh they can unlock the powers which
Right, they can potentially
Van
become the
has.
Dog King.
Yeah, yeah. Which Vance already has.
Right.
And
But what so
yeah,
I'm thinking about what exactly the doctor was talking about in that scene
yeah.
where he's like but he specifically says that the aqua people of Aquafa don't drink the milk from these deer.
really? Huh,
Yeah, he says that they think that it's like disgusting.
huh. Are you sure? Because I remember like the guy who always go with the doctor,
Right. The
the
guy with the
big
red
bald guy.
mohawk.
Yeah, he from Zoo, right? Because he wear that blue things, and when he see the milk, he said yuck. What
Okay,
is
yeah,
that?
I mean, you're making a lot of sense right now. Really specifically remember
Yeah.
reading whatever I was talking about before, but you're just making too much sense. I
All right. No,
like
we
I
will.
don't the
We will.
film doesn't even work if the Aquafa are the ones who uh don't drink this milk and don't have like a natural resistance to the virus because
Yeah.
that's everybody's assumption. Um,
Right. Well, we can double check on that.
yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and like specifically find this line of dialogue with the subtitles at the bottom and screen cap it and send it to you.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I
Yep.
mean,
Yep.
maybe it's not even there. Maybe I just imagined it.
Yep.
You
Well, Eunice, I like her characters. I just don't like her design.
don't like her? What's wrong with her design?
She look emotionless. Like she look like a doll who tried to be happy. If you
Well,
know what
she
I mean.
she looks emotionless in like specific scenes after she's been taken over by um the Dog
E-
King.
even like the ones before when she like when she act overly happy and say that's papa and all that. I still feel her design just her expression just doesn't really give me like a good vibe.
What,
I think it's just my
bro?
problem then.
You're way off.
Oh man.
She
I
must be protected.
Yeah, well, I just don't think her design is that good. Like it just her my least favorite
Well,
out of these
I
films.
like her. I mean, I think that her spiky, she's got two spiky little pigtails.
Right?
I think that's a good design choice because it kind of signals that she has a lot of energy. Um,
Right. Yep.
a character with like smoother or curlier or longer hair would be, I don't know, maybe more docile or whatever. But she's a very high energy character.
Yep.
So I think her hair is appropriate, and she's got her little pink jacket, which is just cute.
Hmm.
And dude, the way she calls Van like Dada,
Yep.
That's so cute.
All right,
How can you
all
hate
right.
that?
Hold on. Oh, where is she from exactly?
She's also Zol,
Oh, right.
same as Van or
Oh, Van
Van.
is Joe as well. Sorry,
Yeah, because
I didn't know that.
they were both originally in that pit, you know, the salt mine where there was
Yep.
that wolf attack.
But
Um,
yeah, because they are prisoners.
yeah, they're prisoners
So,
of the Aquifa who use them for their labor because they're not supposed to, like the Aquifa don't want to go down into that mine because it's kind of like a sacred place or something.
all right. I call. All right, according to the Wikipedia I just read, that mine was Joe control.
Zol control. Why do
Yep.
I have them completely backwards, dude? Were my subtitles backwards or something?
Yeah, because I also thought that it was Joe that yeah that they are the soldiers there. So the whole blues. Remember, I
Yeah,
remember
dude,
that.
what? I think my
And
subtitles may have actually been backwards. It's all
right,
starting to come together for me a little bit. That's so weird.
yep. And Van, I think he's like the yeah the soldier from that elite team, and I think that's what Aquafa. I'm not sure on that.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, because
That would make
the
way more sense too, because that would be one reason why the Aquifa would resent the Zol for
yep.
because if he and the girl Yuna are both Aquifa, then they're like everyone else in that mine. They're being used as you know like slaves. It's human
Yeah.
labor that the Zol
Yep.
are forcing them to do. Yeah, dude, I actually think my subs are backwards.
Yep.
That's
Check on
so
the sub,
crazy.
and I think that it's easy to get mixed up
Yeah, that's
because
true as well. I mean, it could be
yeah
that they were perfectly fine, and they're just cross wired in my brain.
yeah
Um, but I mean, that kind of supports. I mean, obviously, I was being an idiot this whole time, but my idiocy actually kind of supports my argument in terms of this film's appeal. Is that it's not
Mhm.
totally necessary to understand the entire
Yep.
like mythology and
Yep.
all the backstory, the lore, the politics. You can just appreciate it for its like designs and for its general atmosphere of like natural beauty
hmm
and and just the filmmaking in general. Like you can appreciate the animation and
The
the
scenery
scenery. Yeah, the scenery for sure. It's just a very nice
and
movie.
and
I really
and
liked it.
and I agree, and it rich in detail as well. So if you want to sink your teeth in, like to the whole um politics or the whole world there, you just like come for a rewatch, and like you will definitely get more out of that as well.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, yep. A great film. I'm not really a fan of the epilogue of the after credit because
Oh, you
it.
didn't like the scene of Yuna seeing the. I can't remember what the deer are called, man. It's some weird name that starts with a P.
All
Um,
right, yeah, all right.
but you didn't like her seeing the deer come over
I
like the top of the cliff and her being like, "Oh, look, it's my dad."
Yeah, well, I like seeing her, like few years after, so she's a bit more mature. Uh, I just feel that like the ending just imply that everything is back to like a normal, and I just like after all that have done, I want a bit more. I want like the world shaken up. I guess.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. As a matter of fact, the final conflict is kind of like muted. It's just
hmm hmm
like a pack of wolves run up to like some high-ranking politicians,
Yep, I think that's
and
the
then
king. The king observed the guy who see uh
it's the
remember.
brother of the guy who died.
Yeah, that's right. I think he's the
Yeah,
new king.
yeah, and he also. Oh, but see, Oh yeah, dude. Van is definitely from Aquafa because the new
The
king of Zol,
flashback,
the younger
remember?
brother,
Yeah.
despite being from Zol, he always admired Van when he saw him on a battlefield, even though
Yep.
he was from the other, like, he was the enemy.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. That makes sense. Yep.
yeah.
But what
Um,
about Eunice? Are they? Is she from? Is she and the mother? Are they from Aquafa or Zo? Should be from Aquafa, right?
yeah, I would assume so because she was also immune to the
Mm-hmm.
curse.
Yep.
Um,
Mm-hmm. All right.
yeah, it's vacuum time, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Yeah, I like the epilogue. You brought up her design, like that
Mm-hmm.
you didn't like her design. I did appreciate the her design when she was a little bit older. I like that change.
All right.
And in fact, I think it would have benefited the movie as a whole if we had seen her grow up a little bit. Like maybe Van and Yuna could have spent several years in this village,
Mm-hmm.
and she would have maybe if she had gotten kidnapped by the wolves when she was a little bit older it would be a bit better for the film because then she might pose more of a credible threat just visually, like after she's possessed and taken over by the
Mm-hmm.
Dog King.
Yep.
Because it
Yep.
is a little ridiculous, the visual of like little 4 or 5 year old Yuna sitting on the back of the wolves with her red eyes and her like vacant stare and everything. If
Right.
she had been a little older, that would have been a better image.
Okay. Okay, I
Um,
agree with that.
But I man, when she climbed up on top of the hill there and looked across the valley with all the mist, I got chills, man.
Yep.
I
Yep.
loved that scene just as a whole because I knew what she was going to see across the valley was going to be some like not her dad, but some sign that he still lived, and still wanted to make his presence known to her and like communicate with her in that way. I was like, oh yeah, here it comes, because I really enjoyed their relationship, so I wanted to get one last taste of it before the film was over.
Yep. 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 Great film all around. Uh, I think the Deer King might be benefited better if it's a TV series, so we get to see more of like of all the hinted politics spread out.
Yeah, I agree.
But then again, we don't have that gorgeous visual that we
Yes,
watched. Yes, so
exactly. Yeah, this wouldn't have. It's not like this. I don't think any fantasy series is going to get the Moribito treatment in
mhm,
like the current anime climate. It's just there's just not enough interest or money or talent or whatever combination of the three.
yep,
At
yep,
least not in like the TV anime world to make something like that happen.
mhm,
Moribito was extremely unique in that regard.
mhm,
So yeah, honestly, I agree. I would take it. I did kind of feel like, oh man, it would have been great if this were a series. But at the same time, you don't get you don't get a film looking like this unless it is a
yep,
film, unless
yep,
it's
yep. That's
it's
true.
given time to breathe, and like the delays that it experienced during the pandemic
Yeah, I
were
think it's more like they afraid that people don't go to the theater to watch it because
right.
the whole thing was finished like in 2021, so last year. They've been screening
Yeah,
in
or
the
even earlier.
or even earlier, yeah, because they've been screening that to the Annecy Film Festival back
Right,
in 2021, and then they just decide to delay the release until early this year.
right.
So yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
I'm more pumped to watch Moribito now, knowing the fact that they are not like one series, but like three, four, sorry, one novel, but like a set of novels, and they still manage to like to tell a really coherent stories.
I don't know how many of the novels the TV series adapts. It might just be
Yeah.
one.
All right. Wow.
I'm
Right.
not sure.
Yeah.
Um,
I might check on that.
yeah, but Yeah, I think this film was really benefited from having strong source material,
Hmm. Hmm. I agree.
and as a result, it was pretty good.
It's obviously your favorite out of the three, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the last one. Another musical of sort. Uh, from the director that we also cover before of his latest movies. Something inverted. Patina
Patima
inverted.
inverted.
Sorry.
Yeah, the director is Yasuhiro Yoshida,
Yeah.
and he
Uh,
is. I've seen almost everything that he's done. The only thing I haven't seen is Harmony, which was he directed it in 2014. It was a short film that he did for the Young Animator Training Project, which
right.
was the same like government funded animation project where we got the first Little Witch Academia
Yep.
and Death Billiards,
Yep.
which was the basis for Death Parade. Um,
I haven't watched Pale Cocoon.
Pale Cocoon. Pale Cocoon's pretty good. In fact, I mean, when I was watching Sing a Bit of Harmony, I just felt that it was very kind of commercial.
Right.
Like it would cast a very wide net in terms of its appeal. Whereas Yoshiuda's previous work, like Time of Eve, is pretty eccentric in
Yep.
terms of its direction, and
Yep.
Pale Cocoon is even more so.
Wow.
And
Right.
Aquatic Language too, which even came before Pale Cocoon. I think that was 2003 or something. That was
Yep.
obviously the blueprint for Time of Eve, and that is also very weird.
It's
So
interesting
he's
that
he's kind of mellowed out as a director over time.
yeah, I think it's interesting that he have like many neat idea like the Pale Cocoon. He later expand on into like Pantima Inverted,
Yeah,
and
he did.
then
You can definitely see the links between those two when you watch them both. Yeah.
yeah, and then Time of Eve that we can see a bit of that in here, seeing a bit of the harmony, and it's more accessible, not necessarily like more unique, but definitely like more accessible. So
Yeah, just in terms of him talking about AI.
yep, 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 yep,
Uh
yep,
huh. Yeah,
and
that's
how
obviously something that's on his mind.
yeah, and how they fit into like the human society.
Yeah. So Hosoda has the internet, and Yoshiuda has artificial intelligence.
Yep, yep,
They just keep going back
yep.
to those topics.
So we get a film where a robot a robot girl Sion going to the school of this kid and with a test that if none of them find out that she's a robot for 7 days, I think, the test will pass. But sad to me, the main characters know even beforehand that she's a robot.
Right. Yeah. So it's a movie with a very clear conflict, I guess,
Yep, yep,
or
yep,
just very clear stakes. You know, you've
yep,
gotta you've gotta pass as a human for a week, and if you do, we win. Yeah.
yep. But
Our experiment is a success. Yay. And then
yeah,
of
but
course you
in
just take that premise and then you complicate it, and that's how you get your main conflict, and then you resolve it, and that's how you get your third act, and
yep,
then you've got yourself a movie.
yep. But it is a way like a whole lot of others other students involved,
Yeah.
and we had the whole set. So the event lead into like she exposed herself as AI. It's a bit too random. I mean, like
Oh, I liked it. I
you
liked
like it, all right?
how they did that. Yeah. I mean, where there's that whole big musical number
Yep,
where she's singing about like wanting to have friends, and I mean that was the gist of the song was, you want to have friends, smile, um, just like live positively, live your best life, whatever she was singing about. Um, and then at the end of the song, bam, her robot guts come popping out. I thought that was
as
amusing.
as he freeze
Right.
because Sadumi I think mistakenly pressed something that stopped her for some.
Yeah, on her on her cell phone, right? And in a
Yep.
later scene where the judo robot goes out of control,
Yep.
even though it's not actually out of control, Shion has programmed it or is controlling it to attack Satomi in the hallway.
Yep.
But one of the students is like, "Quick, use your app," because
All right.
apparently
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
they have that ability, like to disable robots if they're not operating properly. Although no one
Mhm.
does in that scene,
Yep. Yep.
at
Yep.
least not right away.
All right. One thing I want to ask first. That I forgot to ask when we talk about Belle. Belle. Are you enjoy any of the musical performance in Belle and in this one?
Well, in this one, yes, like this one, especially as compared to Belle,
All right.
um,
Mhm.
I didn't feel as though any of the music in Belle, like all of her performances, Suzu's performances as Belle,
Yep.
felt pretty similar to me.
Right.
They were all just very kind of slow paced, string heavy ballads,
Yep.
where she was,
It
singing about the same thing across all of her songs. And
this is sing
in
in
this,
Japanese.
what's that?
This is sing in Japanese in Belle because I can tell.
Yeah, she's singing in Japanese.
All right. Yeah.
In
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
in the dub of Belle, they sing in English. Um,
All right. Wow.
songs they
Okay.
provide English lyrics, but I watched it in Japanese.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Um,
Okay.
so I just felt like there was a general sameness in both the message and the music in
Mm-hmm.
Belle's soundtrack. Whereas in this one, there was a definite sameness to the message,
Mm-hmm.
which was that you want to have friends and live a happy life and share an umbrella with somebody and all that. But there was some stylistic divergence
Mm-hmm.
as far as the
Mm-hmm.
music was concerned.
Yep.
Like for
Yep. Yep.
example, when Shion is searching for Gochan, because she wants to, all of her ideas are based on making Satomi happy. So one idea she has is she has to see whether Gochan is a prince.
Yep.
Excuse me, my throat's a little dry.
Yep.
And she wants to kiss him to see whether he's a prince. And there's like a big band playing as she's searching for him, like a big band in the classical sense of that phrase,
Mm-hmm.
with kind of like a lot of brass uh, up front. And then later on there's a piano ballad when she's singing when Gochan and Aya are gonna reconcile on the rooftop as it's raining.
Mm-hmm.
Then when Shion is practicing judo with Thunder, I guess was his nickname, the judo
Mm-hmm.
guy.
Yep.
That there's a jazz orchestra playing, and like the music is very syncopated, um,
Yep.
as befits like a dance number, because
Yep.
their judo practice is being compared both visually and musically to a dance. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a little variation, which I appreciated.
Yep. It feels like more. It feels more like a exactly a musical numbers.
Yeah.
Like they have like the lyric that directly associate with the team. They have like the music that like that change according to the message. So I actually really enjoy it. I think they should have more of that, like of this style of film because we only see that in like in more like Western Disney film rather than in anime.
Yeah, and you bring up Disney. I mean, we were talking about the fact that Belle
Yep.
lifted the characters of the Beauty and the Beast, um, for its story
Yep.
and its
Yep.
whole
Yep.
visual presentation and everything. But this film feels so like that's just Hosoda stealing, basically.
Hmm.
Uh, this movie feels like it's made in the tradition of Disney musicals.
Yep.
So
Yeah. I
it
understand
doesn't
what you
feel
mean.
like it's taking anything away from those films. It feels like it's just kind of a piece with them, at least in spots. I mean, the third
Yep.
act being kind of a heist scene, where
Yep.
they're trying to get her out of the the Hoshima Corporation's building. There's not a lot of opportunity for music there,
Yep.
so it's not a musical like through and through. But it really does kind of feel like it was inspired by Disney movies, as opposed to taking a Disney movie and being like, "Oh, this is mine now.
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
doing
Yep.
this movie now."
Yep. Uh, how do you like the story? How do you like the kind of the twist at the end where we see like the origin of Sion?
Um, I thought on the whole, I thought the story was fine.
Mm.
You know, the scene where um, Tolma and Satomi find all the video files that Shion has left behind
Yep.
on his hard drive,
Yep.
and they realize that Shion is just like a highly advanced version of the Tomodachi thing that her mom got for her, and that Toma gave like language capabilities to,
Yep.
and how she
I
escaped into the internet to avoid being like edited or overwritten, and then came back and everything. I thought it fit very well in the film.
All right. Two thing. One thing that I'm not too sure about. So Sion is the product of Saturday mothers, right? But instead, it actually like a modification from Toma when he was a kid. So
He's
like
the
her
so the
whole
yeah, go ahead.
personality, sorry, so her whole personality and her whole identity was from Toma and Saturday, right? It's not from the Saturday's mom.
Yeah, in terms of like her personality, I guess you would say that Toma was the one who shaped it when he
Yep.
told the little Tomagachi thing.
Yep.
Okay, so you just need to make Satomi happy. That's your job.
Yep.
I mean, that's what influences her to act the way she does and to sing in the middle of class on her first day and everything.
Yep.
Um,
Okay.
but
Yep.
the basis of the program is what her mom wrote for her. Then Toma kind of I don't know, gives her like a directive, which is
Yep.
that she needs to make Satomi happy. And then even after that, she all the time that she spends with Satomi as a young girl, and she like
People.
watches the Moon Princess movie, which is obviously a Disney type
People.
film.
Yep.
Yeah. Um, so that's another way in which the film like blatantly signals, hey, this is like a Disney movie.
Yep.
Um, all the time that Shion in that little egg
Yep.
spends with Satomi, that's like a further evolution of her program,
Hmm.
um, where she's like, it's like machine learning, I guess. So it's not just her mother and not just Toma that made her the way she is. She, I think, evolves over the course of her initial relationship with Satomi to become her own, quote unquote person.
Yep. And then later on, when Satomi's mom created Sion, she just like migrated to the body.
No, see that's the thing. When she was so her mom brought in that little egg thing to her office, I guess. That's one of the many little video clips that we see as Satomi and Toma are
Yep.
basically watching her backstory.
Yep.
So the mom brings in the program,
Uh,
and one of her coworkers wants to like tamper with it or edit it or overwrite it.
yep.
And so what Shion does is she escapes and like goes into the internet basically. All those scenes that we see of
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
the black background with all the lights and the pink looking buildings and everything. That's the larger internet, I think.
Yep.
And she
Yep. Yep.
escapes there to avoid being tampered with. But then she
Uh-huh.
comes back in time to like possess the body of Shion. So
Right.
how exactly that works, mechanically or in terms of programming, you can't really say. It's just
Yep.
movie magic at that point.
Hmm.
But it's not like Shion, like the personality that inhabits Shion's human-looking body, is written from scratch.
Right. I just mean that so so that just means that Sion, like the the final product is not the product from Satoshi Mom, but from Thomas and Satomi from when they was a child, right?
Well, the one that Satomi's mother made and the edits that Toma made to
Right.
her directive
Yep.
and her language center and the experiences that she had with Satomi,
Yeah, yeah,
those are all present in
yep.
Shion.
Okay, okay. Now I think I got it. Yep,
None of that like got erased or anything because she escaped into the internet and then she came back.
yep, yep. Um, I think I do like the fact that like I I have a kind of expect that something would go wrong. Um, I I did I did expect like something go wrong with Sion, that like her having like some dark side, especially like at the scene where like she decided to make Toma happy instead of make Satomi happy.
Yeah, that
And
does seem like a misdirect to make you
yeah,
think,
that's
"Oh,
that
she's going haywire."
yeah, that's right. So what we end up with is more conventional in a way, but I also think it's more emotional because of the flashback that we see from her.
Right. Yeah, that is the most emotional part of the film, I think.
Yep.
And I mean, that's my favorite bit of music in the movie too. Is not any of the musical numbers, but the huge guitar rock, like instrumental piece that's playing as they're watching all those
Yep. Yep. Yep.
scenes.
Mhm.
And it's got the like, there's like a little bit of lilting, kind of choral vocals up at the very top of the mix. Um, kind of, it's supposed to be like angelic. Um, so that track, really kind of ties it all together. It does make it a pretty emotional scene because then
Yep.
you're also that's how the film opens. Is it's doesn't it? Isn't that the first scene? Is it's going through that whole little cyber world as the
I
narrator is talking or something.
I don't remember how it's open actually. Good point.
It does open. That might not be the very first like image of the film, but that's definitely the first full scene.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
is ever the camera swooping through the internet, um, with all the pink lights and all that. And so
Yep.
then when you come back to that, the next time you see that image is when you're realizing that Shion has existed this whole time and that she preserved herself like in the safety of the internet when people tried to overwrite her,
Mhm.
um, and that she really is and has always been Satomi's friend.
Yep. Mhm.
Yeah, so it is. Yeah, it is. It is more conventional. I agree, and it is more emotional that way too. They could have gone like deeper into the fact that she's an AI, and like there could have been more detail about her I don't know, digital makeup and what exactly the process was, by which her personality was formed. Or they could have made her go berserk, and they would have to like fix her, and it would be more of a like a I don't know, like a
Yep.
programming type of thing. But
Yep.
they just went for a very human version of the story,
Yep.
and
Well,
I think that worked to its benefit. I mean, it does make it kind of a little bit disposable.
yeah.
Like it
Well,
does kind of make it feel like a Disney movie.
I because they make it a lame antagonist, like a bad guy from the corporation who against Satomi's mom.
Right. Yeah.
But
Another
well,
thing that this movie has in common with Belle is that
yeah,
there's like a mean middle-aged man who is just trying to keep everybody down,
right,
and he's the villain.
yeah.
And the
But
kids and the women have to unite against him.
yeah, but just like Belle as well, we have like a whole lot of Satomi classmates who involved in this. And yeah, for my money, I prefer this bag of characters than Belle's.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Honestly, I prefer Belle's characters, but I prefer
Right,
the way that Sing a Bit of Harmony utilized them.
right. Understand. Yep.
Like I would have loved like if Belle the movie had been kind of more grounded, like Sing a Bit of Harmony, and it was just about Suzu befriending like Luca. They both find out
Hmm.
that, like Luca, for example, could find out that Suzu was Belle, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm such a big Belle fan." They strike up a friendship as a result, and then the conflict of the movie doesn't have to be like traveling to Tokyo to do whatever. It could be about the two of them and like they're supporting each other in their romantic lives and like figuring out what they're going to do after high school and um, just the whole Bell thing could be like you could tie that into the plot at the end somehow. Like they hold a I don't know a benefit concert, a virtual benefit concert where Bell is the main performer in order to benefit the town
Hmm.
so that they can keep the elementary school open or something like that. Like some a more grounded plot with Bell's
Yeah.
characters would be great. Instead, we got that sort of story in this movie where it
Yeah.
was very much about like
It's got a lot.
there's Aya
Yeah.
and Gochan who they're gonna get back together, and there's Toma who has a crush on Satomi and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got a lot more ambitious and heavy-handed as well. So yeah, I
What does Bell?
well the one that we have the version that we have
Oh yeah,
in in relate to your version,
yeah, yeah. It does. It's a little more scattered in Bell.
Yeah.
It's not so like rooted in the real world.
Yep. Well, so I would say that for Sing a Bit of Harmony, I enjoy a whole lot of that. I feel that it like his more accessible film and his more commercial as well.
Yeah. Yeah, to me that's
Uh,
kind of disappointing, but
yep,
it's not a
yep,
bad
that's true.
movie. It's fine.
That's true. That's
It's
true.
kind of fun. Some of the music is enjoyable, and
It's a bit of a shame because like I really enjoy Time of Eve. I think it's like it have style as well. And then he become more and more like branching out.
uh, I guess so. I mean, I think it's good for directors to branch out.
Yep,
It's just that he kind of took the path of least resistance.
yep,
Like
yep,
he
yep.
just started making
But
movies like for teens and families, and
yeah, but to his credit though, it is one of these things. Sorry, sorry. This is one of the teams that he been like the tackling like since the beginning. So it's not that it's the diverse from his user style.
right.
Yep. So yep. So I
Yeah, he's not abandoning his areas of interest, but I just wish that he would incorporate them in something with a little bit more edge.
yep. I agree.
Something
I
that'll
agree.
challenge you a little more.
Yep.
This film is like not. It puts up no resistance
Yep.
whatsoever to the
Yep.
audience. It's just like love me, love these songs, love this movie.
Love
Um,
Shion.
yeah, exactly. Um, and I mean they are lovable songs, and it is a like Shion's a lovable character and everything. So it's a good movie, but I don't like I wouldn't of these three films. The only one I could see myself rewatching is The Deer King,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
and that would be just to understand who the hell is Zol and who the hell is Aquafa. I mean,
Just look
I would probably even watch. I would go so far as to watch the dub if I rewatched it, because then it
right.
would be like entirely clear who was who.
Yeah. Just look at their costume. They have like color code.
Well, yeah, but if you even get that mixed up in your mind, or if the subtitles do, or
Right.
whatever the case may be, then you're just like, oh, I'm completely lost now.
Yep. Alrighty. So yep. Next one. Next one on this. We will talk about is that the anime of the year or is that the season wrap up?
Yeah, we're with Christmas and New Year's and everything. I don't think we're gonna do a seasonal wrap up.
Yep.
Like there will be an opportunity for us to talk about our favorite fall anime when we do the anime of the year episode.
Yep. That's
Um,
true.
like the end of the first week in January, I think.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So if you're listening to this, you're curious about what fall shows we're enjoying. You won't get your answer till we're actually talking about all our favorite anime of the whole year.
Yep.
But there will
So
be an opportunity for us to talk about whatever those may have been.
So we have like a really big fat postcard next time. So tune in for that.
Right. Yeah, that'll be in like a month and a half almost.
Yep. Yep.
But it'll be worth the wait.
That's right.
Yeah, maybe.